Yes, it's Saturday, and it is time for Super Bowl weekend, and we are broadcasting live from the 15th Annual Player Networking event over on the ASU campus, and we want to welcome all of you to the show today. Thank you so much for joining our special broadcast. We've got a great lineup of guests, plus some great NFL people here that I'm going to introduce you to here during the course of the show. And Dan, how are you doing?
Well, after I waded through up here to the ASU campus from all this unexpected rain, it's been a real pleasure. It's been great over here.
It's great. This is a lot of people here at this great event, and we've got a special guest who's going to kick our show off today. And remember, if you would like to hear this, we're on Double White Network 24/7. And you can check us out online at imagehomeimprovement.show.com. But right now, we want to get to our very first guest, Ray Ellis, Philadelphia Eagle, Cleveland Brown fame. Ray, good morning. Good morning. It's afternoon. We're so used to doing the show in the morning. Good afternoon, Ray. How are you?
Well, I am very excited to be on the show, I can tell you that. And there would be so many people that would be upset with me if I did not also mention that not only did I have an opportunity to play with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Cleveland Browns, but I had a chance to play with the national champions, the Ohio State University Buckeyes.
Oh, there you go.
So I had to get that one in, guys. I just had to get that one in.
You got to say
that. I know
that.
we're here at the campus of ASU, but I had to get that one in.
That's great. That's great. Ray, tell us a little bit about this event, because obviously it is a great event. There are a lot of fabulous people here, a lot of great business organizations. There's going to be a lot of great networking going on between the NFL players and the business people. Tell us all about the event.
Well, Steve, I'll tell you one thing that's extremely important for people to know, because many times people do not know and they don't understand that there is a struggle with players that once they leave the game, transitioning from that stage of the National Football League is extremely difficult. And there is a need, and the need has been filled, that void has been filled by a gentleman by the name of Guy Troop and the Player Networking event. His company is Troop 21. And what they do is they assist players in their transition from the game. So they help them in areas of support by providing them opportunities and assisting them with opportunities in entrepreneurship, employment, and shadowing, and of course mentoring as well.
And it's so very important. You know, we've met over the course of being a member of the Pro Athlete Chamber of Commerce here in the Valley, that we've learned a lot about that particular situation where it's, you know, I don't think people understand that there is a great transition when you're a pro athlete, and you would probably know for sure, as well as a lot of the other people here, that when you transition back into, or I should say, out of the profession that you've been playing ball in for so long, it's like two different worlds almost. And if you've had the fortune to have longevity in your sport, you probably forget a lot about, you know, the way life used to be before you became a pro.
You know, it's actually a catch-22. The catch-22 comes in with the average career only lasts in football about 3 to 5 years, but yet and still, when you get out of professional football, let's say if you play 3 years of professional football and you come out of college at 22, that's 25 years. You're 25 years old. The average person in this country retires at 65. You got 40 more years you got to go to work.
That's right.
What are you going to do? You haven't really been prepared for that. And then the catch-22 is the longer you play, I don't care if you play 10 years. So you play 10 years, now you're 32. You still got another, 33 years before you can. So the longer it kind of hurts you more than the shorter career, because the shorter career allows you perhaps maybe to get started into that career transition earlier. But it's the early intervention. We got to catch these guys, and we, meaning former players, are trying to help younger players understand. Start that transition as early as you can. I believe it should start in junior high school. I really believe that.
You've got to have a plan to succeed.
You have to have a plan. Listen, I always give the illustration or the example to people. You know, plans are very similar to directions. And if you don't have directions and you're trying to go someplace, you're never going to get there. Same thing, if you don't plan your life out, you're probably not going to do very well. You need to have a plan, and then you need to follow the directions of that plan and stick to it. After all, to be honest, that's how I ended up here in the Valley. I had a plan to move my family here to Arizona, and it happened. I started planning when I was in college, my senior year. we played in the Fiesta Bowl here in Arizona, and I got a chance to see the Valley. And I started praying and started working and putting my plan together, and I'm here.
Yeah, you did a great job, and I think you're going to give give a lot of, as we give back to the people that really need that. I've spoken to a lot of players over the last 6 months, and they have told me that a lot of times they were not ready when injury struck, and it was a career-ending, injury, and all of a sudden reality set in really fast, and they didn't know exactly what they were going to do. And a lot of them had went through a rough time until they realized they had to say, okay, what do I need to do now? And I need to do this fast.
You're right, Steve. And there's another part that people don't understand. It's the emotional letdown. That, you're on the biggest stage in the world, and all of a sudden, nobody's calling you anymore. Nobody's inviting you. You're not the guy on the A list anymore. And a lot of people feel, well, you made all that money. It's not about the money. Regardless of how much money you make in life, you still need to supplement that income or that earning that you had and add to it. And most athletes will tell you that that's the most difficult part for them, is finding either the right entrepreneurship opportunity or the right job. Because, see, the majority of resources that are given or that are, let's say, in part of the athlete's life is toward the development of him as an athlete, not the development of him as a human being or an executive. And that's where we got to start making sure that we're developing resources that can support the development of that athlete so he can be a good father, a good husband, a good employee, or a good business owner.
That's right. I mean, and I'm sure while their life was getting ready for going into the pros, you have to have other aspirations when you were growing up. Like you had said, you started early, and you just, I hope that a lot of the athletes don't forget about those, because like you say, if they were goals at once, they may still be goals once their career has, they're retired, or if for whatever reason they're getting back into regular life again. They need to be able to tap into those things and not forget about them.
Well, you're right, Steve, but the thing about it is they have to be intentional. You have to be intentional about it. This can't be something that they're guessing about. It's just like football. You have a plan. You intentionally go out to make a tackle, to make a catch, to run a touchdown. You have to have a plan, and you have to follow the direction of that plan, and the execution is what's most important. And you need that. You need support to help you execute a plan.
It has to actually be a secondary a track. Like, you have your career track for your professional game, but you got to have a solid track for the rest of your life in place. It's not just plan B. It's got to be a solid line of thinking, being able to continue on.
And Dan, you're right about that. And I'm sure you guys who are very successful businessmen yourself, but just think about it. When you do your full-time job, you go home, you're pretty tired. But just think about this. These athletes have a full-time job as an athlete, but then they've got to do something else full-time too to get prepared, whether it's be a student or whether it's, if they're working. But the average student that goes to school that's not a student athlete, they concentrate on their studies. That's all they do. And then they enjoy the rest of their life. These athletes have to make sure they concentrate on being a student, which is full-time, and then being an athlete, which is full-time. So it's like you got two full-time jobs.
That's right. Exactly right.
That's right.
It's tough to do.
Especially, business people have that feeling too. They have their business, and the business demands 99% of their lives, and then they really do have a family that really do needs them
Oh, and
to
the
care.
players have that too. The players have
yeah.
a family too. So you got to add that in too. All that, and the family grows when you become a professional athlete.
Yeah,
believe
but
it
no
or not.
stress.
That's right. All right. Well, we're gonna go to take a short break, and when we come back, we're gonna have another great player on the program, Daryl Clack.
Not that cowboy.
You know that guy.
That cowboy.
You know that guy.
Those
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I had a friend in Louisiana told me to make sure I say hi to every Dallas Cowboy I come in contact with today, because she's a Dallas fan.
Clack is one of my best friends. I'm glad to have him join this show
He's
as well.
great.
Thank you guys.
Ray,
We
thanks so much.
appreciate you
We'll
guys
see you a
being
little
here.
bit later.
No. Thank
right.
you
It's been
so
a
much.
pleasure.
Look forward to having you guys
We're
back,
going to
too.
take a short break, and when we come back, Daryl Clack will be joining us, and we're going to get into a little bit about that training camp for your home right after this. You're listening to Image Home Improvement Live right here on the Double Wide Network.